So I thought I'd try doing YouTube because I got a lot of stuff that I'd like to talk about. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the Invincible series on Amazon Prime. As a guy who's read the entirety of the Invincible comics, I did want to talk about season 1 of the show and kind of contrast and compare how things are in the comics versus how things are in the show. What the show did better and what the show did worse. However, I will have to put that video on hold because I feel like there's a particular part of the show that warrants a video all on its own. That part being the relationship between Mark and his girlfriend Amber. And if you've seen the show, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now this will contain some spoilers for the Invincible TV show, as well as the relationship between the two in the comics. So if that means something to you, you may not want to click on this video quite yet. But if you're up to snuff or just plain don't care, then stay right where you are because we need to have a little talk. So I know I'm late to the party here, there's already been plenty of videos made on this topic, and for the most part, people instantly started disliking Amber after what took place during episode 7. So to give some context here, Invincible is a show that takes place in a world that is populated by superheroes. Now granted, not everybody on the show is a superhero, but they are par for the course, kind of similarly to how the worlds of DC and Marvel are ran. The main protagonist, Mark Grayson, is also a superhero, he is invincible. And with that, they do the whole stereotypical trope of superhero guy goes out with the normal girl, guy constantly has to leave to do superhero stuff unbeknownst to the girl that he is a superhero. So the girl gets frustrated to the point where she just doesn't want to be in this relationship anymore because supposedly it seems like the guy doesn't care about her. When in reality, she doesn't know that he has responsibilities as a superhero, again, unbeknownst to her. And that's pretty much how the relationship is between Mark and Amber from episode 1 up until episode 6, with Mark trying to balance out his superhero life with his love life. And Amber's frustration up to that point was understandable because she hadn't really understood what she signed up for here when she decided to date Mark. Like, she doesn't have the context that we the audience have in knowing that Mark is invincible and he's off doing superhero stuff all the time. And so this goes on between Mark and Amber from the time they started dating in episode 2 all the way up to episode 6. Like, episode 6 was the breaking point for Amber when it came to their relationship. And to let you know what I mean here, during episode 6, Mark is given one last chance to make the relationship between him and Amber work. So he decides to invite Amber to go visit this college campus over the weekend with his friend William. And everything was going pretty well until a Reaniman showed up and started wreaking havoc. And then Mark disappears yet again. But Invincible shows up to save the day. What a coincidence. So after the threat's been dealt with, Invincible leaves, but Mark comes back. Again, what a coincidence. And Amber is like, where in the hell were you? Where were you during this crucial moment in time? Mark tries his best to explain himself, but Amber doesn't want to hear none of it. She's fed up. She's done. They're over. And again, Mark knows what it looks like. We the audience knows what it looks like. The only person that doesn't understand the situation here is Amber. Or so we thought. What do I mean? Well, come episode 7, Mark decides that he's gonna go for broke and reveal to Amber that he is a superhero, only for Amber to say that she has known for weeks now that Mark is invincible, but she's still mad though. And you're probably thinking at this point, well, if she knows Mark is invincible, then what is the beef?
Why are we fighting?
We're fighting because you lied to me. You made me feel stupid and unimportant.
It's a secret identity.
And because you don't trust me.
I'm trusting you now.
Oh my god. I mean, it's cute you think that's enough.
But, Amber.
Fly away, flyboy. Or take the stairs. I really don't give a shit.
Bitch, are you dumb dum 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 dum.
Well, you heard it right there, folks. The reason why Amber is mad in this scene is because Mark did not tell her that he was invincible sooner. So, just so I have this straight, during a relationship that's only lasted about 6 months, I believe, she is angry that he did not tell her his biggest secret, something that could put her life as well as Mark's life in jeopardy? Okay. So this is where people started to really dislike this character. And I don't blame them. I mean, this makes no sense. If you already knew, then you being upset with Mark during the whole Reaniman incident makes no sense. Like she says it herself, she's known for weeks that Mark is invincible, but during his fight with the Reaniman, she makes it seem like she doesn't know that Mark and Invincible are one and the same. Like, it doesn't make sense for Amber to be hurt like this, and then come by and say, yeah, I've known for a while now, but I just don't give a fuck. Like, this is super contradictory to the facts as we know them. Because if she didn't know, it would make sense, it would be justified. But because she does know, it's just kind of like, what? It's worth mentioning that in the comic book of Invincible, things with the reanimate play out similarly to how they played out in the show, with Amber thinking Mark just up and dipped, and her getting pissed off and breaking up with him. But the key difference is, in the comic, she did not know that Mark was invincible. In the show, she does know that Mark was invincible. And in the comics, Amber would only learn later on that Mark is invincible, and when she does find out, she's rather proud and understanding of that fact. But in the show, she's being unreasonable for no reason other than the fact that the show wanted to create this false drama between the two. What's funny is that even after this contradictory nonsense, Amber still has a lot of people that are going to defend her, for some reason. So I want to go through some of the things that these people say, for the sake of defending Amber's character in this show and in this scene. So without further ado, here are the opinions versus the facts. Number 1, being a superhero is not a free pass. Except it kind of is though. Mark isn't out here cheating on Amber or slinging dope or anything like that. He's literally out there saving lives. He's not purposefully going out of his way to neglect Amber, but things do keep constantly coming up that require him to be invincible. And with Amber knowing that, you would think that she would be at least somewhat understanding, but she's not. Like, if her anger had come from a place of understanding, like, the conversation between her and Mark was more like, hey Mark, I get it, you're a superhero, you have responsibilities, you're out there saving people, I understand that. But you do not have time to pursue a relationship and be invincible at the same time. So I think it would be better for both of us if we just went our separate ways. Now, if it had been something more along those lines, then I might just give it to the girl, but that's not what happened. She's mad because Mark didn't fess up sooner that he was invincible, which brings me to the next opinion piece on this character. Mark should have told her he was invincible sooner, which again is not the case. Mark's secret identity as invincible isn't a I have Care Bears on my underwear type of secret. That is huge. And again, they've only been dating for 6 months, like they haven't even said I love you to each other yet. But he's supposed to reveal his greatest secret to this girl simply on the basis that they're dating. Now, if their relationship was a little more serious, like Mark could definitely see himself marrying this girl one of these days, then yeah, sure, of course. And while I'm not saying that Mark isn't serious about Amber, the relationship in itself is not a serious relationship. Like, this is just puppy love. On top of that, this is Mark's secret to tell when he is ready to tell it. He's not just gonna arbitrarily tell people his secret because the more people that know, the more lives are in danger by the enemies he will ultimately make by being a superhero. And the fact that he went as far as to tell Amber that he was invincible shows just how much he wants to make this work. To which Amber defenders will clap back and say something along the lines of, well, Mark shouldn't be trying to pursue a relationship with somebody when he knows he doesn't have the time for a relationship. Now, this one I actually do partially agree on, but how would he know that if he doesn't try? Like, understand, Mark started dating Amber around the same time that his powers kicked in, so he's still trying to find that balance between social life and superhero life. Now, while I'm not saying that he should leave Amber undelivered, at the same time, I think we can cut Mark a little bit of slack considering just how new he is at all this. Like, he's not an established superhero that's been doing this for years, and he's not exactly super suave when it comes to the ladies. Also, for the people that do say Mark shouldn't be pursuing a relationship because he doesn't have the time due to him being invincible, it's worth noting that in the comics, Mark does realize that he can't be with someone like Amber and be invincible at the same time because it's unfair to both of them, and so the two break up on good terms. Mark in the show hasn't gotten to the point where he's come to this realization yet. Like I said, their relationship is still in the very early stages. And the last excuse made for Amber that I'm gonna cover is, Amber deserves somebody who is not gonna flake on her all the time. Again, partially agree. However, Mark is not leaving her with any malicious intent. It's not that she isn't important to him or anything like that, but again, he hasn't found that balance in his life to where he can properly date somebody. Not only that, but this excuse for Amber, as well as all the other excuses for Amber, get blown out of the water come episode 8 when she decides to get back together with Mark. So what changed? The fact that she actually saw him get his ass beat? Like, guys, the same shit's still gonna be happening. The only difference is that she knows he's invincible now, so she knows why it's happening. If anything, her getting back with Mark during episode 8 makes her behavior make even less sense during episode 7. Speaking of episode 7, let's go back to the scene where Mark reveals his identity to Amber, because I don't feel like people realize just how stupid that scene is. So Mark reveals his identity understanding to Amber, to which Amber says that she's known for weeks now that Mark is a superhero. Now, how would she come to that ever so logical conclusion? Don't get me wrong, it's the right answer, but how did she figure it out? Like in the comics, Amber figured it out by realizing that Mark disappeared at the same time Invincible showed up during the reanimate attack, and then Invincible disappeared, but Mark showed back up after the reanimate attack, and she was just able to put 2 and 2 together. But in the show, we're supposed to believe that Amber just figured it out because she's smart and wouldn't just assume that he's a drug dealer or cheating on her or anything like that.
Oh, that's stupid! Really stupid.
Again, if she had figured it out with the whole reanimate thing, that would make somewhat sense. But Amber claims that she's known for weeks that Mark was invincible, and the reanimate incident took place during the weekend, which is only 2 days. Another thing wrong with this scene is the fact that Amber was holding on to this secret for weeks now, and chose not to say anything about it. Like, why wouldn't she confront Mark about him being a superhero? Why did he personally have to tell you if you already knew? Like, she doesn't say or do anything that would indicate that she knows his secret already. And for the women watching this video, forgive me if I offend y'all, but most of y'all wear y'all's emotion on your sleeve for all to see. So if something is wrong with you or bothering you, the way you speak to us and the way you act through your body language is going to tip us off that something is wrong. Now, not all guys are going to pick up on that, but at the same time, we're not all Neanderthals. That being said, again, up until the reanimate attacks, there is nothing about Amber's behavior while they're on that college campus that would lead you to believe that something is wrong in their relationship. In fact, everything's going pretty well. Like, there's nothing implied that would say that Amber is looking for something more out of this or something more out of Mark, aside from him, you know, being there with her. Also, again, sorry if I offend you women out there, but how many of y'all would honestly keep quiet in knowing that your boyfriend is a superhero? Like, you mean to tell me you straight up ain't gonna tell anybody that, including your boyfriend, who you know is the hero, for the sake of him telling you himself? Sorry, but that's not a natural reaction somebody would have in knowing that their significant other is a superhero. If anything, her confronting Mark with the knowledge that she knows would make life easier on both of them. But again, going back to what I just said, they would have to explain how she knows that, to which the writers do not have a reason for that other than subverting expectations, which doesn't make a shit ton of sense considering that she gets back with him in the next episode, again, like what I was just saying. Now again, if Amber had come from a place of understanding, being that, hey, I understand that you're invincible and you're doing a good job and everything, but you don't have time to make for me, while having these newfound responsibilities, again, it would have made a bit of sense. But according to her, again, she says that they are breaking up because he did not tell her that he was invincible. Like, this whole scene is very stupidly crafted, and whoever was responsible for making this scene or writing this scene or whatever, they deserve to be fired. Like, no severance, just straight out on their ass. Because this is just horrendous storytelling right here. And then in episode 8, when Amber decides that she wants to be back together with Mark, it's not because she understands the dangers of what Mark has to go through or how dangerous it could be for other people around him. It's because Omni-Man lied to Mark about something. But the key difference is, Nolan lied with the malice intent of conquering the planet and killing anybody that got in the way, whereas Mark told a little white lie for the sake of protecting those around him, aka you, Amber.
Are you stupid?
Yes or no? Most everyone says yes. All right. Keep in mind, this is in her opinion, all right? There we go.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Now, a lot of people started having problems with Amber during episode 7, again during the whole reveal that Mark is invincible. But what if I told you that Amber's toxic traits started coming out earlier than that? Like, if you remember during episode 6 when Mark gets out of the hospital, one of the first things that he does is goes to see his girlfriend. And even though Mark is beat the hell out of, the only thing that she seems to really care about is the fact that Mark wasn't there for the whole soup kitchen thing. Like, seriously, she shows no concern for this guy whatsoever. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but guys, that is not a chick that you stay with. That is a chick that you should leave immediately. Seriously though, like, if a girl prioritizes, well, basically anything over your well-being, do not stay with her, do not give her the time of day, know your worth, and leave. I know Mark in the show is trying to make it work because this is the first girl who's ever taken any interest in him, so he isn't in a hurry to lose her. And I get it, you know, because I was a teenager once myself, and I know what it's like to be with somebody in a relationship for the very first time. So I know what it's like to not pick up on these red flags immediately, but they are there and they are present. Now, I don't blame the character in her entirety because the majority of the things wrong with Amber come down to just how horrible the writing is for this character. Now, they could try to turn this around very slightly. Like, instead of Amber and Mark breaking up on good terms like they did in the comic, maybe Mark will realize just how much of a toxic person Amber is in the show, and he just breaks up with her in spite of that. That could very well be the case. Now, would that have the story make a bit more sense? Yeah. Will they have the balls to do that? No. Reason being is that, and for those of y'all who couldn't already guess already, Amber in the comics is white, but here in the show they made her black. And it's very clear that they want a prominent black character in this show, even if they had the forced one in there. And in this day and age of Hollywood and TV shows where everything has to be woke and politically correct, I do not see them having Mark, who is a white person, angrily breaking up with Amber, who is a black woman. If anything, they're probably gonna have Amber be the one that comes to the conclusion that her and Mark just don't work out as a couple, as opposed to Mark coming to that conclusion like he did in the comics and breaking up with her because he knows that he can't balance out his life with Amber and his life as Invincible. So in conclusion, Amber just comes off as a very poorly written character. Now, this may not have been the showrunner's intentions, but it certainly is what it is. And I'm hoping that this isn't a red herring for things to come, because in my opinion, Monster Girl and Rudy Robot have the most interesting relationship throughout the entirety of Invincible. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but it is pretty interesting. And I hope the showrunners don't fumble the ball on their relationship like they did with the relationship between Amber and Mark. But only time will tell on that. But that's all I had to say on this topic, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys believe that Amber is justified in any of this? And if so, please leave me an explanation. If you have to write me a book, go ahead, because for the life of me, I do not understand. And what are you guys thinking of Invincible so far? I know a lot of people are loving it. Me personally, I think the show is alright. Like, there are definitely some things that they are doing better, but there are also some things that I feel like they are doing worse. Which again, I'll talk in length about that in my Invincible review. That being said, support your Emperor by leaving a like and hitting subscribe. Also help me expand my empire by joining me on these social media platforms.